Part 24.5 Surah An-Nur, the Light. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed, Kanzalaman, Quran, An-Nur, the Light. 24:21-25. Kanzalaman, Quran, An-Nur, the Light. 24:21. O believers, do not follow the footsteps of Satan. And whoever follows the footsteps of Satan, then he commands indecency and evil. And were it not for the grace of Allah upon you and His mercy, not one of you would ever be purified, but Allah purifies whomever He wills. And Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. Khazal, Iman, Quran, An-Nur, the Light. 24:22. And those among you who have high merits and have abundance of wealth should not swear that they will not give to their relatives and the needy and the emigrants in the way of Allah. They must forgive and overlook. Do you not love that Allah should forgive you? And Allah is forgiving, merciful. Kanzalaman, Quran, An-Nur, the Light. 24:23. Indeed, those who accuse chaste, heedless, believing women are cursed in the world and the hereafter, and for them is a mighty torment. Kanzalaman, Quran, An-Nur, the Light. 24:24. The day when their tongues and their hands and their feet will bear witness against them concerning what they used to do. Kanza, Iman, Quran, An-Nur, the Light. 24:25. On that day Allah will pay them their just and full recompense, and they will know that Allah is the manifest truth. My dear listeners, as our luminous journey through Surah An-Nur progresses, the divine narrative seamlessly transitions from establishing legal deterrence against slander to diagnosing the metaphysical source of all social vice and, most importantly, demanding the highest possible standard of spiritual excellence from the believers. These 5 verses, 24:21-25, present a monumental instruction set, urging us to recognize the subtle path of the adversary, commanding us to embrace an extraordinary act of forgiveness, and delivering a chilling prophecy of the absolute bodily accountability that awaits all wrongdoers on the day of reckoning. The text moves from the philosophical root of evil to the ultimate consequence of moral failure, always anchored by the boundless grace of Allah. The sequence begins with an urgent, foundational warning that provides the spiritual context for the entire affair of the IFK and every subsequent moral lapse. O believers, do not follow the footsteps of Satan. Whoever follows the footsteps of Satan, then he commands indecency and evil. ... double quotes. 24:21. The phrase, footsteps of Satan, kutawat ash-shaytan, is profoundly instructive. It signifies that the adversary rarely commands immediate, overt acts of grand sin. Rather, he lures humanity step by step through subtle, incremental compromises. In the context of the slander, these footsteps were the initial acceptance of an unverified rumor, the casual repetition of gossip that seemed harmless, and the slow, insidious compromise of Ihsan. Beautiful assumption. This process of descent leads inexorably to the command of fahisha, indecency, and munkar, evil, which encapsulate all moral and social corruption. The verse reveals that the community's initial entanglement in the slander was not a sudden collapse, but a gradual, psychological infiltration facilitated by an inattention to the sins of the tongue and the whispers of the ego. The true believer is thus called to a constant, vigilant state of muraqabah, self-watchfulness, over every subtle inclination and every nascent thought, recognizing the adversary's long game. The verse continues with a powerful declaration of absolute divine dependence. Double quotes, ... And were it not for the grace of Allah upon you and His mercy, not one of you would ever be purified, but Allah purifies whomever He wills. And Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. This statement is humbling and essential for understanding the path of tazkiyah, purification of the soul. It unequivocally asserts that human effort alone is insufficient to overcome the corrupting forces of the nafs and Satan. True, lasting moral purification is a gift, a manifestation of Allah's pure, unmerited grace fidel and His boundless mercy. This truth should dissolve any arrogance or self-reliance, anchoring the believer in tawfiq, divine facilitation, and absolute humility. The acknowledgement that Allah is all-hearing, azami, hearing every whisper of the slander, and all-knowing alalam, Knowing every malicious intention behind it lends immense gravity to the preceding warnings, assuring the believer that their struggles are seen and that their ultimate purification lies solely in His hands. This spiritual foundation of absolute dependence on grace sets the stage for what is arguably one of the most sublime and challenging ethical commands in the entirety of the Quran, found in verse 24-22. And those among you who have high merits and have abundance of wealth should not swear that they will not give to their relatives and the needy and the emigrants in the way of Allah. They must forgive and overlook. Do you not love that Allah should forgive you? Allah is forgiving, merciful. This verse is directed at the highest tiers of spiritual nobility, specifically addressing the painful reaction of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. May Allah be pleased with him. The agonizing historical context is crucial. Among the slanderers was Mistah ibn Uthatha, relative of Abu Bakr and a poor Muhajir emigrant, whom Abu Bakr had historically supported financially. Upon learning of Mistah's involvement in the vicious lie against his daughter, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, Abu Bakr, a very human reaction of pain and outrage, swore an oath that he would permanently cut off all financial aid to Mistah. The divine response is not merely a legal ruling, but an elevation of the soul. Allah addresses those of high merits, Ulu al-Fadl, commanding them to annul their vow, and more profoundly to forgive and overlook. Yofu wa yasfahu. The command to forgive is a cessation of anger and a cancellation of the debt of hurt. The command to overlook sef is even deeper. It means turning the page entirely, removing the memory of the injury from the heart, and behaving as though the offense never occurred. This is the essence of Ihsan's spiritual excellence. The true spiritual climax, however, is the rhetorical question that follows. Do you not love that Allah should forgive you? This is the ultimate quid pro quo, a cosmic bargain that links the human desire for divine pardon to the human capacity for earthly forgiveness. Allah essentially challenges Abu Bakr, and, by extension, every single believer. If you desire to be measured by my boundless forgiveness, you must first apply that same measure to those who have wronged you. It forces the believer to transcend the demands of ego-driven justice and rise to the standard of divine mercy, recognizing that charity and compassion must be maintained even when the recipient has been an instrument of your deepest pain. The continuation of the verse in Allah is forgiving, merciful, provides the final gentle reassurance, reminding the believer that the capacity to forgive is a reflection of the names of the one they worship. Following this sublime command for mercy, the discourse pivots sharply to an absolute and uncompromising declaration of divine justice against the perpetrators of the crime. Indeed, those who accuse chaste, heedless, believing women are cursed in the world and the hereafter, and for them is a mighty torment. 24-23. This is a terrifying, unwavering warning that applies specifically to the crime of slander, especially against women who are chaste musanat. Heedless gefilit, meaning pure of heart and far removed from such wickedness, thus unaware of the malice being plotted, and believing mumanat. The severity of the crime to assassinate the character of an innocent woman is so immense that the immediate consequence is a kurslan, which is an irreversible separation from the grace and mercy of Allah in both this world and the hereafter. This verse serves as an eternal legal and moral shield, protecting the reputation and innocence of all honorable Muslim women. The mighty torment reserved for this specific transgression underscores the gravity of the spiritual crime, demonstrating that the preservation of human dignity is paramount in the divine scheme. This is a law that closes the door entirely on the psychological disease that loves to see others fall. This judgment naturally leads to the inevitable day of ultimate reckoning, rendered in a visceral and absolute depiction. The day when their tongues and their hands and their feet will bear witness against them concerning what they used to do. 24-24. This verse provides a harrowing, physical manifestation of perfect justice. On the day of judgment, there will be no need for human witnesses, no ambiguity of evidence, and no possibility of denial. The very instruments of the sin, the tongue that uttered the falsehood, the hands that wrote or gestured the slander, and the feet that walked to disseminate the gossip will be granted independent consciousness and will testify against their owner. The body, which was considered an obedient private domain in this world, will be revealed as an objective recorder of all deeds, confirming the truth with unflinching certainty. This serves as a constant, severe spiritual warning. Every action, every word, and every motion is being eternally logged. The profound implication for the seeker on the Sufi path is the mandatory practice of muhasabah, self-accounting, and the sanctification of the body, ensuring that the physical vessel is used only for that which is pleasing to Allah. The spiritual lesson is that the separation between the physical and the spiritual is an illusion. In the presence of Al-Haq, the truth, the material will speak the spiritual reality. The final verse in this powerful sequence brings the episode of the IFK to a conclusion with a declaration of unassailable, final justice. On that day, Allah will pay them their just and full recompense, and they will know that Allah is the manifest truth. 24:25. The term just and full recompense (DN) in its absolute sense means that every minute detail of their wrongdoing, every whisper of malice, and every moment of pain they caused will be weighed and paid back in full measure with perfect equity. This is the promise of final, definitive justice, offering profound solace to the wronged. The ultimate climax of this day is the moment of certain realization for the wrongdoers, that Allah is the manifest truth, Al-Haq al-Mubin. All the lies, fabrications, and inversions of reality that comprise the IFK will be shattered, and the absolute reality of divine justice, the perfect vindication of the innocent, and the shattering clarity of the slanderer's error will be unveiled for all eternity. This powerful affirmation seals the fate of the wicked and reassures the sincere that despite the temporary chaos of the world, ultimate, absolute, and perfect truth always rests with the Almighty. The lesson drawn from these 5 verses is a powerful synergy, the requirement for immense voluntary forgiveness in this fleeting world, anchored by the absolute, unwavering certainty of justice in the eternal hereafter. Hadith, the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught, Allah has commanded me to uphold relations with those who cut me off, to give to those who deprive me, and to forgive those who oppress me. This profound hadith, recorded in Musnad Ahmad Hadith, No. 17,094, serves as a perfect spiritual commentary on the injunction in verse 24-22. It elevates the required response to injury from mere restraint to the sublime level of Ihsan excellence, making the continuation of kindness and charity even towards those who have inflicted pain, a direct and uncompromising command from Allah to His Prophet, peace be upon him, and, by extension, to all believers. This hadith fundamentally underscores that the highest echelon of piety is not simply to reciprocate goodness, but to actively respond to injury with generosity and forgiveness, thereby flawlessly embodying the divine request to forgive and overlook in anticipation of divine pardon. Let us now supplicate, drawing from the profound lessons of these verses, asking Allah to grant us a deeper understanding and to guide our every step. Dua, O Allah, most forgiving. Grant us the strength to forgive those who have deeply wronged us, enabling us to reflect the boundless mercy you extend to us daily. Protect our tongues from following the subtle, wicked footsteps of Satan. Purify our hearts from the dark desire to see evil spread among the sincere believers. Safeguard us, O Arrahman, from the curse and the mighty torment reserved for the accusers of the pure. On the day of testimony, let our hands and feet witness only to acts pleasing to you, O ArRahim, the manifest truth, that we may attain your eternal satisfaction. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine ill. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth, and may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, ArRahman and ArRaheem. Ameen.